The year is 2006. I'm an 11-year-old school kid with a love for motorsport and a deep hatred for this mop-headed Manus. It was during this year where I was fully into F1, V8 supercars, and NASCAR. And this is where I bring in that last one. We would get two feature films in the year 2006. One was Talladega Nights, which came with an abundance of catchphrases and movies. Thus, it was a popular film, and somehow managed to resonate with a lot of racing fans. Kinda. Sorta. Not really. But the film from that year that I want to talk about was Cars. Now, I know what you're thinking. This has got to be a piss take, right? Well, this was a film that came out around the right time when going to the theatre with a family was an occasion, and that you didn't have to forfeit a limb and sell one of the family members to go and see it. And like I said, this came out when I was around 11 years old, when I liked NASCAR, and was watching whatever highlights I could on a Sunday Arvo on a TV in New Zealand, hoping in vain that Dale Earnhardt Jr. would win a championship. But I'm getting off topic here, so let's get back on track here, and I'll tell you why I think that Cars is a better racing film than you may remember it to be. So, the film starts out at the final race of the season, where we're introduced to our hero, Lightning McQueen, who is voiced by Owen Wilson. The race is being held in what looks to be Bristol Motor Speedway, if it was scaled up and had stands for cars. But seriously, how do these cars even get out if they're in the middle of the aisle? What if they got to take a piss? Oh, come on, that's stupid. Cars don't... And in a circumstance which never really happens in real life, three cars are tied for the season points lead heading into the final round, making it an effective winner-takes-all situation. The three contenders are the King Strip Weathers, who is based on a Plymouth Superbird and voiced by the one and only Richard Petty. The second driver is Chick Hicks, based on a Buick stock car from the early 90s, and voiced by Michael Keaton. And the third car was, of course, Lightning McQueen. McQueen makes his way up through the pack and catches up to the King and Chick, before he's dumped in the infield by Chick. Chick then sets off the big one where McQueen proceeds to annihilate the laws of physics. But seeing as how this is an animation film, we gotta give it some leeway, right? I mean... this ain't driven. So after the caution was thrown, McQueen doesn't pit for tyres, and by the start of the last lap, McQueen has a monstrous lead over the field. Victory looks certain, but we're only 8 minutes into the film. So what do you think happens?
Checkered flag, here I come. Oh no! McQueen has blown a tire! And with only one turn to go, can he make it? You fool!
So McQueen dry humps his way to the line, and the eventual winner was, apparently, all three of them, and that there will be a tiebreaker event in California the next week, which I kinda don't get. Like, I mean, crowd's there, track's there, come on, 10-lap slugfest to decide the thing. No? Too logical? Okay, I'll go f*** myself. After the event, McQueen makes an appearance at a sponsor's tent, looking equally as pissed off and bored as any other racing driver in real life.
Well, you know, race cars don't need headlights because the track is always lit.
And after this, McQueen and Mac head off to California, trying to beat Chick there cause, I don't know, Big Willie syndrome, I guess. But this is curtailed when McQueen insists Mac drives non-stop to California, violating every union right that ever existed. Mac just about falls asleep before three tuners and a drag car with bird flu come by and wreak havoc. McQueen falls out of the trailer and loses Mac. After looking everywhere for him and getting chased by the cops, he ends up literally tearing through Radiator Springs, a rundown town in the middle of nowhere, and ending up in the Slammer. The world is shocked at the news of his disappearance, with Dale Earnhardt Jr., Jay Leno, and Arnie saying he must be found at all costs. When McQueen wakes up, we're introduced to the other protagonist, Mater, a tow truck who's basically the embodiment of the southern stereotype. McQueen goes to trial and is eventually forced to repave the road that he wrecked the previous night. He tries getting a 5-day job done in just 5 minutes, which incidentally is the same method I used in making this video, and evidently the road surface was about as terrible as you'd expect. They tell him to repave the road, but McQueen obviously tries to pull the I'm a celebrity and I deserve preferential treatment deal. But Doc Hudson, well, he ain't buying that shit. He challenges McQueen to a race around a makeshift track which still has more character than Sochi. Seems to be a one-horse race until McQueen finds out the hard way why slicks don't really work on a dirt track. So he's forced to scrape up the shitty road and redo it again. And this time, he does a good job. In the small time he has off, he tries driving on dirt again before Doc comes by with some advice on how not to eat dirt on... dirt.
I'll put it simple. If you're going hard enough left, you'll find yourself turning right.
Oh, right. That makes perfect sense. Turn right to go left. Yes! Thank you! Or should I say no thank you? Because in opposite world, maybe that really means thank you.
God, he's a dick. So after doing a decent job with the road, Sally, the 911 from earlier, invites him to stay at the Cozy Cone Hotel before Lightning engages in a little small talk.
Yeah, it's like a clever little twist. The motel's made out of caution cones, which of course cars usually try to avoid, but now we're gonna stay in them. That's funny.
How to pick up chicks 101 here, folks. After a night out tractor tipping and almost getting torn up by an angry combine harvester, McQueen learns the importance of rear view mirrors in rusty old cars. I think. Later on, McQueen finds out that Doc was a little more than just a doctor in the middle of nowhere.
He won 3 piston cups.
He did what in his cup?
And I guess now is a good time to bring up the fact that this character was voiced by Paul Newman. Newman loved racing about as much as you could imagine, and had done some racing himself, including a stint at Le Mans when he almost won the event, had it not been for the somewhat questionable entry of the Whittington brothers. So it was perfect to have him voice the character of a racing legend, the fabulous Hudson Hornet. Actually, with this film, there are some astounding people with voice acting roles. Richard Petty, Dale Earnhardt Jr., Mario Andretti, Darrell Waltrip, Michael Schumacher. Yeah, Schumi had a legit role in this film. But back to the movie, after a wreck that saw him ousted from the sport, Doc wants nothing to do with motor racing, and just wants McQueen out of there before he makes a racetrack or bases his team out there or something. I don't know. Sally and McQueen take a drive off into the middle of nowhere before reminiscing over why the town gets no visitors, namely the interstate that bypasses the town and killed off any traffic coming through. When trying to retrieve an errant tractor, McQueen catches Doc putting his old racing tyres through its paces. The art of drifting is shown off, which intrigues McQueen, and subsequently asks Doc why he quit when he was at the top of his game. Of course, he was deemed obsolete after his accident, and management just went for the next rookie in line.
They quit on me.
I guess we kind of had to keep that in mind whenever we give Kimi crap about his motivation in Formula 1. So Doc tells McQueen to f off, and he promptly finishes the road, thereby allowing him to head to California for the race. But he stays around for a little bit, gets himself some new tyres, a paint job, organic fuel from a VW bus voiced by the great George Carlin, and some other shit as well. Support local business, kids. But Doc, bitter and jealous over other cars being happy, calls the media to tell them McQueen's location. Everyone descends upon Radiator Springs, and McQueen is escorted to California for the big race, without having a proper chance to say goodbye to the town folk. In California, McQueen struggles to maintain focus, as his mind is still in Radiator Springs. He falls behind in the race, before it is revealed that the folk of Radiator Springs had made their way to California to be his pit crew. Doc is the crew chief, and Guido on the tyres. And he would be needed, because McQueen would blow a tyre with a handful of laps to go. What follows is the greatest scene in racing film's history.
Hey, Tiny, you gonna clean his windshield?
Take that, Red Bull. On the final lap of the race, McQueen is punted off by Chick, and it seems that the race is over for him, before McQueen remembers the advice that Doc gave him earlier.
He's back on the track!
Okay, not gonna lie, that was awesome. McQueen is on course to win the race before Chick dumps the king and sends him into an horrific rollover. McQueen slams on the anchors, letting Chick win so that he can push the king to the line to finish his last race. Not gonna lie, this made me a little bit sentimental. I'm not crying or anything, just off. Chick wins the title, but everybody is pissed at him. Dinoco don't want diddly to do with his ass, and instead asks McQueen if he wanted to don the colours. However, he stays with Russ Dees, only asking the owner of Dinoco to give Mater a chopper ride back at the Springs. So yeah, this is quite a film, if you're 11, which I was when it first came out, or was I 10? I don't know, I'm bad at math. But the point is that even after all these years, I keep coming back to this film for some reason. I guess because of the epic racing scenes, even if they defy the laws of physics, and the respect it gave to the racing personnel who were drafted into the film. Perhaps it being a racing film made by Pixar, it's the best of both worlds, isn't it? Kinda, sorta, not really. But hey, did you like this film? What were your memories from it? You guys know the drill, comment below, and remember, keep it respectful, be wholesome, don't be a menace, and as always, I'll see you all later.